All right, what's happening, family? Welcome back to another episode of We the People, where the people come for the truth. And the truth ain't never going to set these meatballs free. All right, I just want to let y'all know that right now. These people are condemned already. They are, I believe, they are truly working on with Satan's hand. All right, so Jake Tapper. Now, I want to give you some context here, okay? Because the first thing I want to say is I want to call out to the American people, do not buy the book Original Sin. And the reason why I say don't buy the book is because do not enrich this fella for this book when he knew the whole time. And all he's trying to get is rich off of the decline of the American president. Eh, He is 1000% wrong, morally and ethically. Just wrong. And this is what we have when we have so-called journalists now, right? Propagandist. That's what Jake Tapper is, a propagandist. So let's get on with this video so you can get some context. What's up with Jake the fake Tapper?
I want to ask you a couple things about things that you've done on the campaign.
And now this is it give you some context. This is the video with Laura Trump where he belittles and degrades Laura Trump for saying that everyone can notice the decline of the American president, the cognitive decline. Now, watch how he frames this.
Trail. Joe Biden, as we all know, has worked to overcome a stutter. And one of the speakers at the Democratic convention was a young boy who the vice president inspired, named Braden Harrington. Take a listen.
It was really amazing to hear that someone.
Now, real quick, you see why he did that, right? Bring a little boy on and show the little boy, right? And allow the little boy to speak and with his stutter, right? So he can belittle and degrade Laura Trump, make her look like yay big to the American people. Try to, okay? Try to. But I appreciate the way Laura Trump held her ground and said she didn't know that Joe Biden had a stutter. And even if she did, she wasn't making fun of the stutter. She was making fun of the fact that she could tell that Joe Biden was a feeble old man.
Like me became vice president.
Braden Harrington, a very brave young boy. You made this comment.
Braver than you, Jake.
About Joe Biden. Let's take a listen to that.
Every time he comes on stage or they turn to him, I'm like, Joe, can you get it out? Let's get the words out, Joe. You kind of feel bad for him.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
You see how disgraceful that question is?
That Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
You could Jake would be. I gotta watch how I say this right, but Jake reminds you of that, the classic woman abuser. Allegedly, I'm not saying that he is. I don't know if he's married. I don't know nothing about his private life, right? But a man that would bring a woman on TV because her last name is Trump, right? And actually get enjoyment out of doing what he's doing. Look at the facial expressions that he makes. Look at the enjoyment that he gets out of trying to disgrace this woman. What kind of man are you, Jake? Man.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable.
You have no. It's so amazing. It's so amazing.
Look at that enjoyment. Look.
And try and figure out.
Look at that enjoyment.
Well, when you're trying to
Look.
tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you
stuttering.
were mocking his stutter. Yeah, I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline. I would think that somebody in the Trump family.
Ain't that something? He just told Laura Trump that she has no standing to diagnose anyone with cognitive decline, but yet he just wrote a whole book on it. Ain't that something? You want to talk about the kettle calling the pot black, right? Like hypocrite all the way, all the way. Jake is a hypocrite. I mean, woo, Brandon.
Would be more sensitive to people who do not have medical licenses, diagnosing politicians
Oh,
from afar. Plenty
oh,
of people have diagnosed your father from afar,
oh,
and I'm sure it offends
father-in-law,
you. Your father-in-law from afar. I'm
right?
sure it offends you. You don't have any standing
I'm
to
not
say.
diagnosing him. What I'm saying,
You
Jake,
just talked
is
about
that
a cognitive
we
decline.
see that Joe Biden
I
is
have one last
struggling
question for you, Laura. You
many
can't.
times on stage, and it's very concerning to a lot of people that this could be the leader of the free world.
Okay.
That is all I'm saying. I genuinely feel
Laura
sorry
Trump.
for Joe Biden.
I appreciate it. I'm sure it was from a place of concern. We all believe that. Laura Trump, thank you so much. Coronavirus cases are back. What always shocks me is just how.
Now this, I'm gonna let it go into this for a reason, right? Because I want you to watch out for Democratic operatives, right? This guy right here, David Tyler Cohen, Brian Tyler Cohen. Where are David? Brian Tyler Cohen, right? So Brian came up in the podcast in there, uh, he was brought out, and I'm quite sure he's funded by the Democratic apparatus, right? Because he grows too fast and he's got uh, way too many subscribers. I think you dig into them, might be some bots in there, might be some Russians in there. You never know, right? Allegedly, of course. But and he's looking a little, yeah, like what's up with you, Brian? Huh? Playing with the white girl, buddy? Huh? What are you doing? What's up with you? Trying to live that big high life, huh? Yeah. I hear you, Brian. Looking a little loose in the collar around there. That suit looks horrible on you. By the way, you might need to shave a little or something. I don't know what's going on with you, bud, but you ain't looking good. Uh, yeah. Well, he came up in the air. He was dumped on us. When Joe Rogan and Tim Pool and PVD podcast and Doc Rich and all these guys were coming up and giving us the conservative view. The Democrats found that podcasters were threatening to their propaganda. So they dumped some podcasters into YouTube like this that were Democratic operatives that were uh, trying to snatch the fan base. But it's cool. I mean, it's an open air fan base. So if there's people that enjoy watching it, watch it. But what I'm trying to tell you is that you're going to get the same lies you get from the media right there. And I'm going to give you an example.
Dumb the Trump campaign thinks that people are. Here we have Laura Trump saying with a straight face that she never knew that Joe Biden had.
By the way, well, we'll go into the next video and explain the reason why this is a complete bold-faced lie to the American people, and it comes out of his hole in his face.
A stutter. Everyone knows that Joe Biden has a stutter. Literal children know that Joe Biden has a stutter, and we're supposed to believe.
I don't think they do.
Republican operative and a family member of the candidate running against him for president of the United States never found out. Got it. But as if feigning ignorance about his stutter wasn't bad enough, she then goes on to repeat the Trump talking point that she was simply referencing this notion that Biden's in the midst of cognitive decline, which, first of all, is rich coming from the campaign of the guy who stared directly into the solar eclipse, who suggested.
Let's let it. Yeah.
Nuking a hurricane, who tried to alter the path of a hurricane using a Sharpie, who referred to Yosemite as Yosemite, who suggested injecting disinfectant and thought an F-35 was invisible, and then
Now that's how you know it's a lie, right? Because some people say it's bleach, and some people say it's disinfectant. It's a lie. Everything he just said is a lie. It's a lie. And that's my problem with it, is that they keep lying to you. And they allow them to do this. They don't allow them to be biased anymore. They don't. It's like not a rule anymore to be biased. Like I remember when I was a kid, at least the media was biased. They covered Democrats the same way they covered Republicans. If you were doing something wrong, they shit all over you. All of them at one time. And if you was doing good, they showered you with gifts of praise, man. But now, if you're Trump, you're getting shitted all over. If you're anybody else, you're all right. You're gonna get some. Yeah, I mean, you're still a Republican, so you're gonna get. You know, they're gonna talk about you, but I'm quite sure it ain't gonna be as bad as Trump. Once Trump's out of here, I see stuff starting to go back, trying to get itself back to normal, to where they can start lying to us and stealing from us again. A bit of normalcy, right? But with Trump in there, it's too shook up, and they can't stop it from being shook up. So, yeah, I just have a problem with, they've lied to us for 4 years, and now they want to come out and talk about, oh, we're just going to move on. Well, let's move into the future. Oh no, we tried to help. No, we that's why we're writing the book. We're not just trying to get rich. We're just trying to let the American people know that the Democrats were lying to us too. No, you were lying to us with the Democrats. Jake, Brian, you people are disgraceful, man. So let's listen to Jesse Waters ask Laura Trump right now how she feels in light of the book that came out, how she feels about that interview now.
do you think Jake Tapper owes you an apology?
Well, you can see for yourself in that clip, it wasn't just enough for him to deny the cognitive decline that was obvious to everybody with eyes and ears in the United States of America and, quite frankly, around the world, Jesse. He had to go a step further. He had to shame me and insinuate, in an astonishing insinuation, that I was mocking someone with a stutter. Nobody knew Joe Biden even had a stutter, I don't believe. But that got me a lot of hate from a lot of people. Captain Sully went on to write an op-ed to shame me even further after that interview. So I'm expecting a full-throated public apology at any point. Holding my breath from Jake Tapper.
Lara, do you think Jake Tapper owes you an apology?
Hey, you heard that? Full throated, Jake. All the way down the throat, Jake. You got to get it all the way in there. Huh? Gurgle. Work them muscles, Jake. I mean, you can hire some. There's plenty of females that know how to do that, Jake. You can hire someone to teach you. Full throated, allegedly. Full throated. But hey, Laura, I hope you're not holding your breath, though, love. You know, I really do. I hope you're not holding your breath, because from weasels like Jake Tapper, you will probably never get an apology unless he thinks it'll help his book sales. That will get you an apology, Laura. Oh yeah, babe. That will get you an apology. if if he thinks for one moment that will up his book sales, he's going to be right on TV talking about, I just want to apologize to Laura Trump because I was a fool on TV. Jake Flapper, the flabbergaster. All right, so let's move on. Now, let's go on to Peckerhead Joe and little Mika, right? Joe and Mika. Joe enjoyed telling the American people, F you. F you. If you don't, let me let him say it.
Analytically, because he's been around for 50 years. And, I don't know if people know this or not. Biden used to be a hothead. Sometimes that Irishman would get in front of the reasoning. Sometimes he would say things he didn't want to say. This is, and I don't really, you know what? I don't really.
There you go.
Start your tape right now.
Starting now.
I'm about to tell you the truth.
The truth.
And F you
and
if you can't handle the truth.
What?
This
Listen.
version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever. Not a close second. And I've known him for years. The Brzezinskis have known him for 50 years.
I think he said enough. What do you think? Enough said. Say no more. Move along. Okay. Cognitive decline of said President Joe Biden. Okay, so let's hear what he got to say.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy on this, and Kevin, good day to you. You noted it. I remember hearing it from you back in the day. Chris Murphy, Democratic senator, says no doubt. He says there's no doubt about it. The debate is whether it was enough that it compromised his ability to act as chief executive. Now, there's a bunch of books out there right now. Maybe there's more coming off the top of my head. I can't think of one, but perhaps that happens. At which point do Democrats finally shake this? Because it's just a cloud that's moving over them every day.
They're trying to ignore it. They're trying to say, oh, we're just looking forward. But I think the leaders that covered this up should have to resign. So that means Schumer and Hakeem should actually resign because they saw the same thing I did. And when I came forward with what was going on, they all attacked me. They tried to even do the cover-up. Instead of just not saying anything, they attacked those who tried to tell the truth. And they allowed the country to be in this position. That's not a place for a leader to be. When you can see what was going on in the White House, and Dana, you know this better than me, that White House is a place that is humming. Under Biden, nothing. It is so quiet. And then when you had meetings with him, you had a different meeting every time. But there's times his mind was not there. That he led me into the swimming pool one time. Another time he was dazed that he saw his wife Jill. And why did Jill have to be in so many meetings?
Unlike others,
Yeah.
you were honest about what was happening. You told
Yes.
people what you saw. No, so yesterday, we don't have this sound, but Jake Sullivan, who's a national security advisor, he's being interviewed yesterday, asked if he ever noticed anything. And it's reported in the book that a couple of times the president looked at him and called Jake Sullivan Steve. And he said, nope, never saw anything. But you imagine that the Democrats were calling for the 25th Amendment against President Trump in his first term. And none of these people thought this was a concern, that the President of the United States and his national security advisor didn't have clear lines of communication.
No. And what the worst part is, privately together, they acknowledged his problems. They made jokes about it. They said he was our zombie. This is the highest leaders in the cabinet would say this about this president because they would talk about him not recognizing him, calling him by a different name, and then go out and attack those who ever brought it forward. That, to me, is the biggest crime of all, to allow this to go forward, to put America in this jeopardy. And then you wonder why we had...
Let me tell you something. This video is better than I thought it was. I agree with Kevin McCarthy, and that's rare because Kevin McCarthy is a never Trumper, right? And he's agreed with Trump on a couple things lately, and I agree with Kevin here. All right. The leaders should have to resign. Hakeem Jeffries should have to resign. Chuck Schumer should have to resign. And any of the Senate and congressmen who lied about the cognitive decline about Joe Biden to the American people should have to resign. AOC, Bernie Sanders, all of them. You should all have to resign for this. Your part in lying to the American people is disgraceful. And you still have not come out and apologized for what you've done. You don't owe me no apology, but you definitely owe your constituents an apology because we already knew. But then people that believed in you and trusted you, you lied to them. Fully lied to them.
Had such terrible foreign policy? Why were new wars created? Why did we look weaker on the world stage? Why did we lose? Well, they're at fault because they covered up. And this is a country that if somebody falls behind, somebody.
And another thing I want to say real quick. Thank you, Jake, for that book. Because you proven that Biden has a cognitive decline. They're going to prove that auto pen shit is out of here. That auto pen, everything that was signed for them pardons is illegal. It's got to be illegal. I'm telling you, if he's going through cognitive decline, he and they used the auto pen to sign. He was at a golf course one day. It's on a video. At the same time that one of the pardons was signed, he was at a golf course. They used the auto pen to sign it. Like I
else is elected to step into that position. They should not have been silent. And if they were leaders and they were silent, they should step away from their jobs.
New York Times did a focus group of Democrats. These are voters now, okay? Here's 4 quotes. Ariel's age 23, Indiana. What do you think of the Democratic Party? Disappointing a little bit. Harold out of Florida, age 54. Ariel took the words out of my mouth. He said, disappointing. Spencer, age 30, out of Illinois, white therapist, useless. I'm sorry, is his quote. Terrell, age 39, Texas, black nonprofit, inept is his quote.
That's how the constituents feel right now. And that's saying something. All right? That's saying something when your people feel this way about you. They should all resign. And maybe an emergency election or something to where they can have the choice to pick new representatives or vote on new representatives, of course. And Republicans should get out there and run too in them places and give them an option. You know, do you want to go back to the same tired thing you were going through where they're going to just lie to you? Or you want to come over to the mega base where Democrats are now voting Republican? I was a Democrat. I got my card. I got my old voter card and my new one. My old one was green. My new one's black. Yeah.
How do you turn that around?
You have to turn it around. It has to change. I mean, it's not just the voters. Look at the Democratic leader in the Senate in Florida. He literally resigned from the party because he says the party has left him. If the party has gone so far one way, because remember what the party has done. They changed their election rules about which state starts first. They pre-pick who can be their nominee. They deny other people from even running, like RFK. So in those situations, what they need to do is start with new leadership. That's the only way they're going to build trust. And they need to start with ideas. Get off this idea that your whole campaign is to just oppose President Trump. Go out and talk about policies. And for the first time, I saw a few Democrats literally crediting President Trump with his foreign policy trip he just went on. Find me. They're only waking that up because their own voters are telling them, you're
Kevin.
being dumb and we're voting for somebody else.
Sorry to
Yes.
jump in, but I do want to get you on record with this topic. Let's just play from Speaker Johnson. He's trying to get a big, beautiful bill done. You know how this goes. Let's play his sound here.
Meeting you were having with folks inside there.
Go forward progress. We're going to look at some numbers tonight. Keep this thing.
And while we're here, Johnson, you're getting primaried. I've called you a few times, Speaker Johnson, to speak to you about what's going on with this bill and why Trump executive orders had not been shoot, the words right on my tongue. Look, you heard me. The tongue's right on my word, right? The words right on the tip of my tongue. Confiscate. Shoot, man. Make it, just bring them into law. Why ain't you making them? Why ain't you bringing them into law? Right? I'm saying it wrong. It's a process that they do when the president signs executive order. Then Congress votes on it and it becomes law. So it can't be changed around in 4 or 8 years when the next president comes in. In this case, 4 years, because Trump can only do 4 years. So in 4 years, when the next president comes in, we don't want him to be able to switch it back or open the borders again or anything like that. So, they gotta, this is killing me, bro. They gotta make these into law. All right, so that's all I wanted to say about Speaker Johnson. This video wasn't about that. This video was about the cognitive decline about Joe Biden and how they all lied for the Biden administration, and they all lied to the American people. And that's the problem. And we are at the end of the video. Again, thank you guys for watching. We the people, where the people come for the truth. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button and like the video to help us reach that algorithm. I'll never ask you for $1, but I will ask you to subscribe, like, and share. Those 3 things, to me, are worth more than $1. Help us to grow, help us to get out there. We do still got a couple of the Trump shirts left. If anybody's interested in the Trump shirt, it helps the channel out. We do buy our own equipment, mics, interface equipment, computer. I mean, so I buy these shirts in order to make a little couple dollars back to the channel. I appreciate it very much. If you guys are interested, leave me a comment and I'll tell you how to get the shirt. Man, God bless each and every one of y'all. God bless America. God bless Donald Trump. But God bless the American people. And God bless the world. Thank you guys for watching again. I'll see you next time. I'm out.